Welcome back to part number 25 of my Imperator Rome playthrough as the Bosporan Kingdom. We just finished a war with Rome and the Roman revolt. We took, I think, about 100 war score out of either. It worked out well for us. I'm in the process of consolidating and getting out of this area. I was miserating at the end of the last episode that I had quite a few units out in the further reaches of the Roman revolt, etc., but they turned out to be mercs, and I disbanded them, and I think we're going to get it done sooner than later. So we're consolidating here. I have our smaller, slow-moving navy headed up here. I don't want to divert the quick one. I just want to get out and down to Kush in Egypt immediately. So this guy is going to wait for a while, and the smaller navy, which is somewhere, is here. You pick him up and bring him down. Hopefully he can invade Cernasia, and it may work out all for the best. Other than that, I spent all my money moving pops, as I noted at the end of last episode, and building, a great many theaters and such. I note that there are quite a few Venetians about. I sort of wondered where they were going, and there really doesn't seem to be anywhere to go other than Anatolia or right here in former Odrysia, as most of the other areas have been taken. I note here that there are some provinces or territories as well that can be colonized, and I think I'm going to do it rather than take it out of whoever does colonize it as war score, like if Rome colonizes it. I doubt it, but I don't want those migratory tribes settling it either. I think I have a fair number of Bosporan pops close enough to where it won't really cost me all that much money to do it. And that's what I'm going to do. So the immediate need here is to head off any sort of activities that these guys will settle here, as well as Anatolia. And then, of course, move the armies down to engage Kush. Let's see if it's still actionable. It looks about the same as it was, and you as well. It's still actionable as well. We're going to invade here, and Kush simultaneously will secure this, peace out. Then we'll have adjacency to the meat of the Kush area here. So we'll be able to take a considerable war score out of them up this very difficult to reach stretch of real estate. Now I got these territories here colonized. I took care of Anatolia. A couple of territories over here had decolonized. And off to Kush we go. I also created another road building contingent. Let's send them up here and get some roads over to this area. Alright, I have most of the army here. This other straggler that was up here, he's gonna land here in Libya. These guys are headed down to Memphis, and the road building guy is doing his thing. I have the the first Taxus of Sarmati Europa is holding down the entirety of this area, Mesopotamia and India. We're going to hire some mercs here and engage with the Egyptian fragmented holdings through here, as well as maybe a couple of levies, although the levies probably won't really do much good. I don't think that I'm going to need mercs to cope with Kush and Egypt here. I'll probably just land some Memphis and then have them disperse here, here, and here, and then take to the sea and bring a couple of armies here to push down this way. And then what is not here or there will go down here and invade these areas of Kush, and or this the small power here, and our war goal for Kush is going to be right there. And come to think of it, maybe I will need a few mercs. So I'll probably only hire, let's see where you go. This guy is, we'll send him up here. And then we'll probably need a merc for this, and say this. So where's a merc? There's one right here. He's good at what he does. Let's hire him. We'll go right down here. Let's see, we'd probably will this guy take care of these two areas and this maybe, and then another merc for these two areas with levies to reinforce should be certainly sufficient for the task. All I need to do is find one. Here's a 14 man, reasonably close, as close as, you know, reasonably whatever it gets, and these vast distances. We'll head over here. This guy was closer, it's not as good. We have a couple of competent mercs right here. We'll get him loaded up, and this guy's 10. Get him moving. Did they change this game to where you can now move the mercs immediately rather than after a day passes? I don't see how they could or would or whatnot, but it seems to have changed. So my point is these two mercs will push down this way, and if we are down engaging Kush and Egypt, and the contingency is such that it's an expedient end to the war, and we don't roll back up to Carthage to re-engage Carthage and Egypt, and do go this way, we can just disband these mercs, as they'll be theoretically further out than the rest of the army, at least in theory. I probably should have hired... Well, this guy has his own fleet. In fact, he can catch up when he can. So the larger fleet will stick with him, and he'll catch up as time allows. We've arrived here in the deltas. I'm going to disperse them, but I'm sort of curious how our legion count is doing. It's the same, but we can build out to all the armies. Like that's, we can build 3 here, 1 here. Macedonia is coming up hard there. Good news and bad news. Kush beat us to the punch here, but I think that sort of mostly bad news, because we'll have to take the war score out of Kush, but at least it's closer. We'll be able to attack Kush here. I'd have a sizable force here. We should be able to take Axum from Kush, and there's Egypt and Farfara. That is that. So we have a sizable army right here. This guy is going to go right around the bend here. These guys advance. We'll take this delta, and then this plan to come down like so. This guy will advance right in here. This merc will take that, and this merc will take that. The war goes well. We're going to try to trap this guy in between this corridor. What goes on up here? Just slaughter, really. We have a lot of troops relative to the enemy's force count. These areas essentially are occupied except for you. We are winning without much contest. It's just a matter of getting out of that deep in these snake-like corridors in a timely manner. I have the second Taxus rolling up here. As to whether we take his capital or not, probably. And I should probably let's see, go here and then have these guys proceed perhaps to the boat. And then this lot are leaving. The Taxus armies proper. I'm sending mercs down. This corridor here was blocked by the Egyptian revolt, and I was unable to continue down here, and perhaps it was a blessing, I don't know. We can take this Farfara off the books here and sue him for peace, and then integrate him. If we take him as a client state, at least I think we can. We can't? We can though. Take him as a client state, and it looks like he's agreeable. We have a low, so I wonder what they'd give up, really. Sort of wicked taking that out of, well, these areas are hard to get to. This area, with the closer we get, I think the better off we are. And not give that up, I see. Just barely, though. Well, we don't need it either. There's a lot of this border core. Let's see. Let's see if we take that, and that. Can clean that bit in here as well. And then we can get up the snake region there, so we won't have to travel up it again. These areas are relatively easy to reach once you're at it. So let's see here what we have. I see. He's taking this back as well. This Cernacia is relatively easy to access as well. This area perhaps not so much so. We have somewhat agreeable disposition there. Let's see. This will go down to a tenor. I doubt he does it. Oh, we already chose that. Okay, how about you? And I'll do it. Okay. There's got to be a better formula. I think this one's better. We won't have to dredge down into this area. Can place our troops here and by the coast. He has generally well disposed to that. Let's do it. A year and a half on that. What to do now? Unfortunately, our taxes here, the fourth taxes is stuck. As our client state is here now, and we're surrounded by Egypt and Kush, the only solution, unfortunately, is to disband him. That does open another opportunity to disband the legacy road crew that have been very busy around in through here, up here, across various areas. They are also part of the Torrican Legion count. I'm going to disband him as well, and then create a new legion off of one of these other troops here, and they'll catch their morale and food on the fly. Let's get this guy back here immediately. We just had a claim hit against Superatia. So a plan seems to be coming together. I think that we can perhaps engage. I'm sending this fleet back down to pick up this lot here. We were going to head out this way and pick up these guys, but instead I think we'll just, since we're here, we'll pick up these guys. The truce with Carthage ends in, let's see exactly again, 667 October. About a year and a half out. So it'll take us some time to get on the boats and such. So I was thinking maybe we could sail up to Superatia and take some war score out of him and see where that goes. There's also Alvernia. We have a small claim on him, but he has a few allies about, and maybe we could separate peace or something. He's not in a defensive league, though. I should file another claim up in this area here, just because. I don't think this guy is affiliated with many takers. Oh, look at that, a defensive league. Then he's allied with the same, essentially. No, he's not. He's allied with Alvernia and Lamonica. So I could take these defensive league out early. Let's file a claim here just because. Maybe we get Superatia, or maybe we attack Alvernia. There's a tiny little claim I have here. I could hire a couple of mercs over to this area here to guard, to go up and siege that, and then our regular army could make mincemeat out of Superatia and these guys relatively quickly. If some downtime develops, there may be a lag in between the time where we're able to extract ourselves from this latest war and the time when we can peace or not truce break Carthage, which would be October 667. So that sounds like the plan, and then we, if and when we attack Carthage, we can pivot on Rome and company there as well. I think we have claims here, and do we have one here as well? We do. My mega province here is working well. It's completely urbanized, as anyone who's been following the series knows. We have 89 trade routes coming in. We're going out at our pops promote at a 60, 68, 69% per, so 2 months for any given city these guys will promote. The ratios are almost right, and our legion count hasn't really gone up all that much now. But we do have more we can add to our armies. So let's round these guys out. I'm thinking support, food and support for all around the board here. Let's take just in case we get into a prolonged engagement and have to go from one war to the next, or we want it to go quick, so it takes siege engineers, and if we run out of food, well, we don't want to. We still have more, 10, so we can have, let's take a cav and a horse archer throughout. With a 24 stability with all of our wonders and other innovations and abilities and such, they're all coming up. This, well, there's one there I saw. Pancala. This is a great grain area right here. What's his problem? I'm gonna build some farms here as long as I see we don't have any money. We don't. Note to self, do that. But why is it on Kanyuja? Where is that? It's here. So if we just build a couple of these theaters and such, he'll be happy, right? So minus 0.12, that'll make it minus 0.02, and that will put the problem to bed. Well, we made it over to Carthago. These guys, I left a couple of armies over here to deal with Egypt when we do declare on Carthage. I think that's got to be the plan. Hire some mercs to round out the forces. Egypt is more compact now. After that last war, we took his territories here, and there's really it's a much more focused battlefield here for Egypt. So we have this army. We'll probably hire one merc here, maybe another merc for helping down the slot, maybe two. The one will go here, the other there. Our army proper will sort of stick around here. This unit will go to Cernasia again. And these armies here will deal with Carthage. It should be a very bloody affair for Carthage. Not so much for us. I was thinking of invading Superatia, but found that we had been warring so consistently, and down in Kush, we were unable to supply after some fairly long naval voyages back from Rome, and then we did that warring down there. So a lot of these armies they really need to replenish their food, and there's a lot, they're missing quite a bit. So we're going to take some time and burn through essentially a year replenishing food and just waiting for the Carthage truce to end. That may be for the best, because we won't be on a Gallic campaign at that point. As I suspect that being low on food, we'd probably still take this, but then we'd still be low on food, and Carthage would have something to sink its teeth into here, relative to us having to defend it. And generally it's a bad idea. So when we're done with Carthage and Egypt, we'll be able to pivot up here to Rome and company again, it would seem. They'll probably come together and automatically peace us out. But who knows, really, who knows? Maybe we'll be able to attack both. They seem not to be able to settle their differences. I'm going to let that year pass and see what happens. Boom, we get a whole truckload of money here. I'm thinking we'll probably want to take a full 100 war score out of Carthage, and the only real way to do that, as well as realize some return on our trouble here, is to let the war run for 3 years and separate peace out with either. I think that's what needs to happen. I think this army is too strong to run for 3 years, so we'll probably occupy this in short order, this as well. We'll head up here just because we're that way. But during the 3 years, I suspect that Carthage armies will be less than fully effective by the time it's done, and we'll be able to declare on Superatia as well. Sort of while Carthage is running, about maybe a year and a half in, after they've taken some losses and are reeling from it, we'll probably declare here as well and grab this, just to give our armies something to do with themselves while we're waiting for the 3-year period to close out with Carthage Egypt. While I wait, I'm going to try to raise our legion count in cold cheese. I built aqueducts, and we have quite a few capacities available. We're also very, very Bosporan. Some of these, like this city here, is almost completely so. This one has quite a bit here as well. Here, well, I think there are many wrong culture pops fairly close to these areas here from Albania. I think they can be moved here. I'm going to do that. I moved some pops from the Albanian area here. They're going to assimilate and promote at some point. Building a couple more aqueducts throughout. They should raise the count of the cold cheese. It already has gone up. And some Cappadocia Pontica levy. Although it hasn't. But the cold cheese has gone up significantly. And I'll build out to it. These guys are not very food friendly, so I noted that some of these areas are not particularly well endowed with food. So I went over here and went to Pankala and around this area here. There's quite a bit of grain to be had. I built a bunch of farms here and essentially populated these grain farms. Sawed through what is essentially all of my money, but I'm tired of sort of not knowing where I can import from. And if I get that Pankala area hopping along, I can be sure to just click the button. And I'm sure there's probably more available. This one is fairly tight. So if I go down here, I wonder if there's a mod that like has the amount of food that the provenance is positive. I should look. Where's Pankala? There it is. I have a Civics Advance now. I think I have 2 in the bank. I do. I can go. There's some build time here and a bit of tax. Why not that? Well, quite a bit of time has passed. It's October 16 of 667. I took as much food as I could for the armies. Most of them are full. These guys here are generally full up. We're going to sail right down here, land in this area, spread out here and there, regroup on one of these ports, roll up in this area here, head down here and up here, and by that time I suspect, well, actually we're going to run for 3 years, aren't we? So I hired a merc here. We're going to siege down that and then fire him. Maybe hire another. And then here we have this unit approaching Egypt and Egyptian Cernassia. This one is on the front already. These mercs got hired a bit late. I sort of got carried away with building. And that's about the size of it. I'm going to declare the war right now. Get that timer ticking. Boom. How goes the war? It's a lot of micro. It's there are not really any troubles so far. Just sort of running a bit low on food. I'm more conscious of it. I sort of wish perhaps that I would have taken these martial advances. I think some of them you can get a supply limit bonus, and then more supply limit, and then surgeons. I took the taxes, 2.5%. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice, I see. Okay, where are we? Just bought off this merc. He was going to have a breakout up into this area. I sent him down. We're going to siege this Egyptian fort. There's been some back and forth here. Dispatched a navy here. This merc is headed down to siege this area that's blocked by the Egyptian revolt. Egypt is allied with Kush, but we attack Carthage, so Kush is not involved, to the best of my knowledge. He's not. We've occupied a great deal of Egypt. We'd like to get deeper in. Why not? As long as we're going to separate peace out, I want to take as much of him as possible. That means we're not in any particular hurry. And having been said, I wonder if we should assault that fort and chase this guy down. He seems a little bit off. I had a merc assaulted this fort. I just let him go. The army that was there is gone now. This guy is having a breakout here. I'm going to get on, bring both of these fleets here and pick up this first Taxus of Colchis. Deal with them. All this is occupied. We are headed here to pick up the guy that took Carthage's new capital. And rather than go around the spend and deal with all this jungle movement and whatnot without any roads or anything, we're just going to sail right across here and start hosing Iberia. The war here is October 16, so 667. We have a ways to go, so we'll probably occupy the whole lot. And also, as I mentioned earlier, we'll probably take over Superatia while we're here, just because we'll be here and we'll be waiting for the 3 years to trigger. So we can separate peace out with Egypt and Carthage and take 100 war score on both. I'm beginning to wonder about the logic of my my planning here to let the wars run for 3 years. We have a 99 war score, and that's 1 year. 1 year in here, October 16, October 28, or thereabouts. So we can get 100 for 1 year. We can immediately sort of bounce up here. The thing is, we're already here. Can figure in a half a year for bouncing up here. And then where are we? We're about even. Only we can't attack Natia at the same time. I think we're going to stick with the separate peace thing. Something is. I don't know exactly why we can peace out here. I can't say, because I know the truth of it. I'm gonna read the wiki. Well, go figure. Unless they are completely occupied. You can't sue for peace with secondary combatants unless they're completely occupied. I always thought it was a defensive league thing, but it's not. It's an alliance or secondary combatant thing. I guess the defensive league members were always so small that I would be able to peace out with them, whereas the alliances are generally larger. So now I have learned the greater truth of it. Can we completely occupy Egypt? I think it's possible. I think it's I'm actually like well on my way to doing it. Let me check. So here is Egypt in its whole here. So far as I can tell, what we need is, we have this. I have 2 Merc armies headed here to assault that. We worked our way through this Egyptian revolt roadblock. There's a fat Merc stack here, but he just assaulted a fort. He's not feeling particularly well, but neither are the Egyptians. If we make it down here and assault this fort, and then send a ship down here, that should be really about the size of it. There seems to be a fort here. What is that? What in the hell is going on here now? Oh, that's fort. Okay. I thought that he had somehow deoccupied all this territory. Okay, so we can do it. Let's get on this boat and do it. This guy is theoretically, well, maybe he goes up here and gets stack wiped. So we have both these armies. One is a proper Stratus. We have the Smirk. I think we can do it. We can peace out before the 3 years with Egypt if we occupy the whole of them. All we have to do is get on this island. How can we get on that island? I see. We've got to bring this guy back. We can do it. All we have to do is make a full commitment to the effort. Let's go here. Okay, so these guys are advancing into Iberia, but we are really nowhere near my plan to attack Superratia simultaneously with Carthage and Egypt. Essentially, there's no need now, because we can speed back toward Cyprus quickly. I see. We've taken another provincial capital. We'll take this as well. I see. That army is not much to look at. I think we can work with this guy. I say we can't hire anymore. Well, I'm going to assault this fort and then hire this Merc and try to run this guy down. These both are going to get on that boat. I think we should be able to separate peace with Egypt now. For some reason, this fort or this territory here was not occupying. I had to run down there and deal with it. But I think, yeah. We can take all of this distal stuff that we don't want to deal with again. And we don't have a lot of aggressive expansion, so we're going to take quite a bit, really, yeah. Let's see, 62, 71. All this stuff there. Let's see, we have... Can take that. No, I see. There's 100 war score and 59 aggressive expansion. I'll take it. But theoretically, if you have 110 aggressive expansion, you should take essentially none for your second war settlement. In the past, if I settle immediately, I get the same amount of aggressive expansion modifier like before the month ticks over. But if you let, I think, the month tick over and or restart the machine to get the thing's head right, that you should get 121% modifier, essentially nothing, for your next batch. I think that works, and I'm going to do exactly that. So there we go. We are looking at a 99 war score, and I think we can settle with Carthage for very little. Yeah, essentially nothing. So let's take this area here. I don't want to annex it again. I wonder if we could grab some of Iberia from him as well. That's 97. That's 97, it would seem. Well, this area is very easy to take. This area not so much so, because you have to traipse down that slot. But if we put a fort right here, we can stop him from traipsing down the slot. This area is sort of challenging to get to, and maybe if I can stage some units there, I won't have to traverse all that ways by sea. It doesn't look like all that far, but it is pretty far, even with Laborians, to get there and back. And if I'm able to, even better yet, hire some of these mercs that mull about there, I can just hire 4 mercs for this area and have them go and ravage Iberia. And then, you know, have the proper army stay a bit closer. And I think that's probably going to be the settlement. Let's see if there's... That's too much, right? It is, yeah. I'll take it. Boom. That'll do it for this episode. I think next stop is Rome and or Roman revolt and or both.